This is the Bears Barroom Radio Network. The following program is recorded live and intended for all audiences.
Radio is scripted now. We just come up with it. We don't use computers. We don't rehearse. We're going to talk about this next. We're going to talk about them. We're going to talk about the Bulls. And then we're going to have Brad Bigson. And then we're going to have all this. No. If you don't know what you're going to talk about in the top of your head before a show, you shouldn't be in the business. I don't know what you got. I feel like Vince Vaughn in a couple's retreat. The Sharks are circling. Old school, baby.
You're listening to the Mike North Advantage, and it begins right now.
That's right. The Mike North Advantage starts right now. I am Aldo Gandia, Mike's wingman. It's hump day, and you know what that means. Mike's got a winner for you coming up in about 30, 40 minutes or so, but we've got a lot of other things to talk about. We got the Chicago Bears. We got the Chicago Bulls. We got Chicago White Sox. We got all sorts of things. I want to talk about J.J. Watt. I want to talk about this. I want to talk about that. But the only guy to talk about all this stuff with is Mike North. How are you, my friend?
There he is, my buddy Aldo Gandhi, and it's good to see my Whitey Bulger impersonation today. Yeah, got the hair back. I'm a cross between Pat Riley and Whitey Bulger today. My mother told me, I saw my mother yesterday, Aldo. I said, Ma, how you doing? She goes, you look terrific. I go, well, thanks, Mom. That's like the first compliment you've given me in like decades. She goes, but can you do something about the receding? I go, I've had the same damn hairline for 25 years. What's wrong with you? But it's good to be here. We got a big game to give out today. We're going to be giving out the winner of the Florida-Missouri game. I got to just tell you something, as Aldo knows, we make this podcast. This podcast has had plenty of good people behind it, some sponsors. We got some other announcements we'll be making in the next couple weeks, hopefully. And Brummy Bear is always good to see Brummy Bear.
Yeah.
It took him at least 10, 15 seconds to think up a name for, his profile. And that's what he came up with. It. Look at it, my guy, number 34. that should be the Bear logo. Anyway, change your game and change your life with WinDailySports.com. Now, these guys are great. Right now, last night, touch and go, 3-0 Monday, 1-2 last night. I had the puck line at 1.5. Money line, which is I had to pay like 180 if I lost the game by more than 1.5 goals. And my New Jersey Devils, Elder will appreciate this. I'm down 2-0, so I'm dead if they don't get a goal. I get a 1.5. They score with 19:46 left in the game. Ladies and gentlemen, another win for Win Daily Sports. Make sure you give Win Daily Sports a follow. Check them out at WinDailySports.com. Right now with the Bears Barroom, make sure you follow at Bears Barroom and Aldo Gandia. I mean, we're joined at the hip, me and Aldo. You don't follow him, it's an insult to me personally. It's a personal insult. You follow him? God bless. Anyway, articles, podcasts, cheat sheets, projection models, optimizers. Aldo, he wants to go to college, be an optimizer. No, we need you here. We need you here. You don't have time. Talk. One-on-one with the pros as they help you mold winning lineups for daily fantasy and cash. You in at the sportsbook at WinDailySports.com. Our lineup optimizer will bring you to the top of the leaderboard. Sign up for a free account today at WinDailySports.com and turn your love of sports into a profit center. Also pleased to announce I've been doing some spots now for a prop swap over there on AM 1000. Make sure you give AM 1000 a listen, and make sure you give Carmen DeFalco. I got to talk to him. He shaved his beard, but he looks like a Superman villain, quite frankly, or somebody that would be out to kill Clint Eastwood in a 1967 Western. Check it out if you can at Carmen DeFalco. I don't know if you've seen it. We're on every Friday. We swept the board last week. We're 11-1 the last 3 weeks, which is unbelievable. I mean, for a terrestrial wagering show. And, we're on Friday and Saturday, so that's good. Follow at AM 1000. Follow Jurko, Jurko, all my peeps. Follow Jason. Follow Michael Razzilli right here, or Razzilli, right here at Win Daily. Follow them all. Follow everybody. Try to get as many people. We'd like to get Win Daily over 10,000, which we're getting close to. We're getting close to 9,900 now. We jumped on, it was like 97-30 or something. So we just keep building that. We're building the bar room too. So I'm done with the pushing, with the promoting. Yesterday there was some pushing and promoting going on and stuff like that. A lot of stuff to talk about.
There sure was. Sure was. And just one more time for the people listening on the audio podcast, it's at Win Daily Sports. If you have a Twitter account,
that's right.
You give them a follow, and their website is windailysports.com. And
now sponsor of the Mike North Advantage, ladies and gentlemen, with Aldo Gandia.
Yeah, and listen to the Tooch. He writes, "I'm in my daily work meeting, but I'm listening intently to Uncle Mike's pick."
You got a big one, Tooch. Good one. I like it. It was a strong one. I was going to save it for my picks later on Win Daily Sports. I said no. I'm riding with my guy Aldo on this one. Big pick for tonight. I'd like to go to 4-2 or 3-2-1 right now here.
Yep. Now, the big question of the day is, what are the Chicago Bears going to do about this quarterback situation? Yesterday, on Tuesday, Ryan Pace, the general manager of the Bears, and the head coach, Matt Nagy, met with the media separately. It totaled about 45 minutes. And what did we get out of it? Zero.
Yeah, I really enjoyed, I didn't even listen. I just followed your account on Twitter, all the stuff. It was excellent. You did a great job, Aldo.
Thank you.
And everybody at Bears Bar Room covering that whole thing, the nonsensical stuff that was being said. Nagy saying that, you know what, he knows that quarterbacks have strengths that he's got to play to and weaknesses. This is a revelation to who? The fifth grade high school coach, grammar school coach at St. Juliana? My God. And Pace saying everything's open. I'm going to tell you something right now. This is a Mitch Trubisky production you're seeing. The Bears are follow the leader here. If Mitch would have said, I'll come back, I think that they're saying we're going to start the season with him. They have no alternatives. I mean, they look, unless you're going in with Foles. I mean, let's leave out the 27 other guys that have been rumored to come here. Let's leave them all out.
That's right.
There ain't a school bus big enough for him. J.J. Watt gets on the bus. Russell Wilson gets on the bus. Watson gets on the bus. Mitch don't get on the bus.
Yeah.
It's everybody else. Foles gets on the bus. And I said this on Twitter today, and I'm getting pretty good response to it. Although the mainstream media won't peddle this stuff because they understand that basically Nick Foles was supposed to be the quarterback. Right. That's why Nagy did that last year. And we're looking for another one when we got a guy that got us to the playoffs. This is what's transpiring. And now Bear fans are starting, I notice, to turn the corner on Mitch a little bit, seeing all the shenanigans going on and seeing all the hush-hush and stuff like that.
Well, and what was one of the weird things to me in listening to the press conference, and I got a few clips to play, it's like Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy think that they can just call Mitch up and they can bring him on the team. Hey, Mitch has a decision on this. He can say F you if they call. So it's not like he's easily available to you. Listen to Ryan Pace talk about Mitchell Trubisky and the quarterback situation when he was asked.
Yeah, again, that's going to be part of our offseason plan, and we're not going to lay all that out right now, Pat. It's just those are all internal discussions we've had, but I would say, again, everything's on the table with all the quarterbacks.
Now, let me ask you a question. Did you think that Mitch was even going to be around at this point? Or that basically, because he's got to wait, I understand, till the date comes. I get that.
Right.
He hasn't said a word. They're out there trying to speculate what's going to happen. They don't have a plan. I've been asking everybody I've been on any podcast with, any radio show with, and there's numerous. What's your plan? If it's not Mitch, what's your plan? Oh, and then draft a rookie again? That's his last year then, Nagy's. You'll say goodbye to him. So I think they know that they need Mitch back, and they don't have anything yet. And I think what we're seeing here is Mitch in charge. Mitch in charge.
That's the name of a good show, right? Mitch in charge.
Oh, that sounds like a 70s sitcom.
That's right. So what if you were to lay odds, what are the chances you think that Mitch is back in 2021 quarterback in the Chicago Bears?
50%.
50-50. I would say the same thing. I would say the same thing.
It wasn't supposed to be 20.
Yeah.
Wasn't supposed to be 10.
Right.
So I mean, I give him again. They're looking around, going, "Well, who we got that's better than this?" What?
That's right.
See, all these football writers and pundits
Mhm.
and talk show hosts and columnists, they already had their say with Foles.
Mhm.
They had it. I hope you're not getting any reverb back there. I'm not getting any.
I'm not getting any either.
Okay, I hear just a slight echo.
Okay.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah, we're fine on
I
that.
this podcast because we got some future event things coming up. But anyway,
Mhm.
I'm just saying right now, I think who I mean, Bear fans thought something by now might be happening.
Mhm.
Russell Wilson don't want to come here.
You don't
JJ
think
Watt
so?
wasn't coming here.
Mhm.
Watson's not coming here. Maybe I mean, why isn't it done then?
Mhm.
I mean, look how long it took JJ Watt. It took him what, a couple minutes to get another deal. He didn't wait for nobody. And
Well-
boy, what a stupid deal that was for Arizona. I don't care what anybody says. Putting up JJ. You know what? I got to be honest with you. JJ Watt's hit about 8 sacks a year for the last 3 years. Before that, he was a lot better.
Mhm.
So maybe put the last couple years up, the last 5 years up, because he was a lot better years back.
Oh yeah.
And he's a great player, and I love him.
Mhm.
But don't say you want to win, and then you're going there, Arizona.
That is a little strange.
I mean, it's seriously.
A lot of-
The Bears had a quarterback that was homegrown. He was coming along, and they ruined him.
Mhm.
Nagy, he doesn't trust Nagy. He doesn't.
Right.
I wouldn't. Would you?
No, absolutely not.
If he did that to any Bear fan that always wants Mitch out,
Mhm.
if Nagy pulled the wool out from under him, or you, or under for you, if you played for Nagy, you'd say, yeah,
Yeah.
he's
Right.
a good guy. No, you wouldn't.
Mhm. This is Matt Nagy on Mitchell Trubisky, and apparently he has newfound respect for Mitch. Listen to this.
I think you guys saw there with Mitchell towards the end of the season, we really were creating that identity with the offense.
Yeah, because you listened to what he wanted to do.
And then he took the identity away after he called the play supposedly out of Bill Lazor's hand.
Yeah.
And he went along with what he wanted to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
it's crazy.
that's what I'm saying. This whole thing is really disgusting how it's all transpired. We shouldn't be worried about quarterback. We should be worried about 2 linemen. We should be worried about a backup, maybe running back.
Mm-hmm.
We should be worried about Allen Robinson. We should be worried about Hicks and Fuller are going to be gone soon.
Mm-hmm.
This is all setting up to be lame dunk unless Mitch comes back, like I've called it.
Right.
If he doesn't come back, we're not winning.
Right. Now,
And
and
everybody said, well, they got to get a quarterback to lead them to the playoffs. We went.
exactly.
What is wrong with everybody?
Exactly.
I just don't get it. They want everybody to be Mahomes. There's only one Mahomes. Okay, so he should have taken Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
No, he should have taken Watson. Nobody wanted Mahomes. It was mostly Watson talk before the draft that I wanted Watson. I never thought Mahomes would be as good as he's been. Okay, but now there was a lot of when Mitch was taken. Look back at some of the columns. He was ranked number 1 out of those guys.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of big-time scouts had him ranked number 1. So maybe it took him a while to come along, but then he overcame what happened last year. Don't let him go now to somewhere else and then, become Jimmy Butler.
That's right.
I'm serious, and go to the playoffs. I said my prop bet is what do you give? What kind of odds you give? Mitch will go to the playoffs with another team and the Bears don't make it. I would jump on that prop if they ever gave it out somewhere.
Yeah. Chris Watts says, great show, guys. We haven't got the goods to get Watts.
No.
I bet we end up with Foles starting next season. I want Mitch back and use the draft to strengthen the team. Does Mitch want to come back? That's the $64,000 question.
I wouldn't have wanted to the way the media piled on him, the way that everybody did, the way people changed their mind on him, the way that half the people that were Trubisky followers, if you will, if they wanted, or truthers left. And now they got egg on their face. We know who every one of them was. I know who every one of them was that's pertinent in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
They're the same ones that every week on Twitter go, what about Watson? What about Wilson? What about Winston? What about Wentz? I mean, every week it was. They won't stop.
It's a comedy show.
And we'll never ask, what about Mitch? Because over half the Bear fans want Mitch back, I think, now after this nonsense. And I don't know why more don't after seeing all the nonsense that's going on. And that press conference was pathetic.
Yeah.
There was nothing said there.
Santucci says, first we had Jay Cutler ruining a bunch of coaches. Now we have Nagy ruining quarterbacks. Good time.
Well, I'll say this. I heard this yesterday, and it was amazing to me that, Nagy's praising the new defensive coordinator, and Pettin's name wasn't brought up.
Mm-hmm.
So Pettin being brought in, there are still concerns about the new guy. I don't care what anybody says. I don't know why you would do that. And then they brought in the guy Herman as an offensive guy.
All right. They got a lot.
We got more coaches than players.
It's all about collaboration, Mike.
Yeah, collaboration. Herman collaborated them right out of getting fired at Texas. Okay. I mean, I just don't understand. I don't understand what they're doing. I've never been a Pettin guy. I don't care if he's a coordinator or a head coach. What? Because he's from Green Bay? You don't think they're going to switch things up? You don't think the Bears, Bears are going to win now because they got him to give us Green Bay's ultimate secrets? Come on.
Yeah, Mule Skinner says Nagy brought up Mitch's name in the press conference. He would have loved to have seen the reaction on Mitch's face.
Mitch is in the driver's seat.
Yep.
He bamboozled the media. The swamp media, Bear media, and he bamboozled most of the fans by making them look bad because they've been. And you look, like I told a guy this morning on Twitter, and I love going back and forth on Twitter. It's great. I go, all that's in my mind is you wanted Foles. That's all. Well, he did good for a couple guys. No, that's not what we were looking for here. Ryan Badgley says Mitch is gone. Yeah, he's going to win somewhere else. I'm going to enjoy it.
Yep. And Nagy was asked, what are the qualities you're looking for in a quarterback? He goes, well, three traits, athleticism, the ability to move around, leadership, and the ability to make decisions. Well, that sounds pretty much like Mitchell Trubisky.
That's Mitch.
That's right.
I heard Keyshawn Johnson say the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
He said, the Bears just need somebody to manage the game, throw a couple deep balls, and be smart and don't turn the ball over. That's Mitch.
That's right.
People are laughing at the Bears and a lot of Bear fans because the ridiculousness of every week somebody coming up and the same people going, yeah, I want him. Yeah, I want him. I mean, credibility can't be on their business card. It can't. They switch with the wind.
Yeah.
They go through Bear quarterbacks like Liz Taylor went through husbands. It's crazy. My God.
How many did she have? She had 6, right?
8, I think. She got married to Burton twice. How do you marry him twice? Once is enough.
He had access to really good.
The only actor I ever saw that looked absolutely hammered in every movie he ever did. Even Cleopatra, all those other. He's like, even when he was younger, he looks blasted.
Yeah, I think he came out of the womb.
He actually did. They did movies that suited his lifestyle. The Sandpiper, all these movies that absolutely lived. This Butterfield 8, all the movies where you drink a lot and you get hammered. And
Who did we get for this role of the alcoholic? Richard Burton.
Yeah. Unbelievable. The one he did with George Siegel and Sandy Dennis. But then you hear Paul Newman talk about her, and like Paul Newman said, ultimate professional. So you never heard about her being late, being not knowing her lines. She was ultimate professional. So God bless her.
Yeah, the Badge totally agrees with you. He thinks Mitch will excel without Nagy, just like you said. So
he's going to. You watch. There's teams just waiting for the Bears to release him.
Absolutely,
or they let him go.
Adrian says Bears need an offensive line. Forget quarterback talk. Forget quarterback talk would be.
Well, then how would anybody host the show? Because that's not good. That's not good fodder. An offensive line. Well, you got to have like that. You got to have like a soap opera for quarterbacks now. I'm sorry. To put it in Mickey Cohen's words in Siegel, Benny, I'm sorry. This is beneath me to talk about this kind of. I would not. And people know it because they know my pattern. I wouldn't have fallen for none of this crap. This is classic Bears and classic sheep media that the Bears have in their hip pocket. Period.
Brummy Bear, I guess, has some inside information about Richard Burton, saying that he was well endowed, apparently.
So I had to be something.
He was called the Walsh
I was like
Cucumber.
70 when he was 30. The guy just, I mean, God, my God. You know, I see Peter O'Toole in Lawrence of Arabia, and 30 years later, it looks like a complete. I mean, I know we all get older.
Yeah, but
Oh my God.
he was out in the sun a long time.
If you read about those guys, fascinating.
Mhm.
A slow weekend was an orgy. You know, I'm serious. Actors. Albert Finney.
Yeah, I don't know. Another one. Yep. I listened to the J.J. Watt press conference, and one of the things he said was, I texted Kyler Murray, the Cardinals quarterback, and said, one of the reasons I'm here is because of you. I believe in you. And so I started thinking, well, if the Bears are going to start trying to approach free agents, who are these free agents going to text? Nick Foles? Because they better get a quarterback. They better come up with the decision quick, because a lot of players are going to have choices of which team to join. And I know people are saying there's enough money in the salary cap, but there is enough money to pick these mid-range players. So you got to have a quarterback that's going to attract players.
If you're a wide receiver, you're not coming here if you want to make, any kind of time. Allen Robinson, I think his best spot is still here. Mm-hmm. Although I think if he goes somewhere else, God bless him, you got to wish him well. He did what he was supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
He did it with a quarterback controversy that was caused by a head coach.
Yep.
In a locker room that was divided.
Yep.
And then on a team that stopped playing for Foles.
Yeah.
I mean, they stopped playing. And then when Mitch came back, they started playing. All you have to do is look at the games, the difference. The boredness. You talk about boring football. The Bears played it under Nick Foles. I don't care what he did against Tampa Bay. Look at his overall body of work. The Bears play exciting football with Mitch Trubisky. You live or die with the guy. Mm-hmm. I don't understand this negative attitude towards him. I don't. I've been watching Bear quarterbacks for a long time. He's one of the top 5 quarterbacks we've ever had. Now, is that demeaning to him? Maybe. But I think that if he goes to another team, he'll do well, because I'm looking at the teams he's performed with, and his stats are above staggering for a guy that can't read a defense, supposedly.
Right.
And he's the greatest quarterback I've ever seen. That he can't read a defense. He's still getting the job done. He's 29-21. So for the folks that say he can't read a defense, so what? It's working.
Yeah. Josh says, why would Mitch want to come back? The fan base and coaching staff don't have his back. Even if Pace got him back, Pace would draft a quarterback and Mitch would again be on the hot seat. If you lose for him without a deep playoff run. And Josh is right there. I mean, Mitch, I'm sure, has been thinking about that. He's talking to his beautiful fiance, and she's probably saying, come on, there's a team out there that really wants you. And he's going to get some offers. And A-Rob, I think, will get some offers too. It's rumored that the Baltimore Ravens are highly interested in him.
Perfect receiver for them. Exactly. They like to control the ball.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to win with Jackson just running.
Mm-hmm.
And they need a guy with great hands, because he's not the most accurate passer.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I was a doubter of him from when we got him, but I'm just saying right now, that would be a perfect receiver for Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
Inclement weather. Good hands, has a quarterback with an inaccurate arm,
right?
But that can keep plays alive with his legs, and that's where a guy like Allen Robinson, who you give another second to, will find a seam and get the job done.
Exactly.
And that's what Mitch should be able to do with them, and they don't want to do it that way.
Ryan Badgley, the Badge, is sick and tired of hearing about Nick Foles beating Tampa Bay. Come on, that's a big deal.
They weren't even there yet. I mean, the Tampa Bay hadn't even turned the corner yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure. I mean, what difference does it make? Look what they did afterward. They're lucky the Bears didn't play them the last game of the season.
Right.
How's that? We'll play it that way. They came at the right time. Brady wasn't there completely in yet. They had no training camp. I'm not making excuses. They won the Super Bowl.
Right.
The Bears win. But that happens a lot. There's upsets every year in football, and that was an upset to me.
Your adversary, King Pookie,
I love him.
Alvarez, says that Mitch had 5 seasons to turn around. Actually, he had 4, but it doesn't matter.
Hey, look, he's King Pookie Nation. Why do we question him? I'm just adding another full season to make his argument do well. But I understand. He did turn it around. We weren't going to make the playoffs. What is everybody doing here? He turned it around. We were losing. He came in and we won. King Pookie, what's his name? King Pookie
Nation.
My guy. Listen, all I'm telling you is we made the playoffs and you were clapping when they ran out for playoff football.
Yep.
Right.
Exactly. Mule keeps talking about the offensive line, and he reminds us that the rookie offensive right tackle helped Tom Brady immensely. Tristan Wirfs, who came out of Iowa, rookie. The only sack I think he gave up all season long was to Khalil Mack when Khalil Mack sacked him, and then he picked up Tristan Wirfs and threw him almost out of the stadium. But outside of that, Wirfs had an outstanding rookie season, and so Mule is right. I mean, Mike, you and I come from the Jim Finks era. Well, how did he build the Chicago Bears into that Super Bowl contender? Offensive and defensive line, right? Line of scrimmage.
Well, Jimbo Covert. I mean, once they got him, and then they just filled in. They took Bortz from the defensive tackle spot, put him at offensive guard. They put Hilgenberg over at center. They had him with pedigree of Wally Hilgenberg and other people. Kurt Becker, Tommy Thayer. I mean, just a great offensive line of guys that were dedicated and had McMahon's back and had the team's back. So one of the great offensive line that nobody ever talks about. The Bear offensive line of the 80s. It's overshadowed by Walter. Walter didn't get those yards by himself, no matter how great he was. He got a lot of them because of how great he was, but he had some nice holes, and they led the league in rushing every year during their reign. I mean, when I talk reign, the Super Bowl years, 84, 85, 86, 87.
Jay Bond says, Mike North is the truth. Everything he says, I've said, arguing with clueless fans on social media. So you guys.
Well, you know what? I mean, some of these fans listen to people that have their different ideas. I mean, that you're still, the Foles thing should have shut you off to anybody who said that. I mean, if you didn't see that with your own eyes this year, grown adults thought Nick Foles was better than Mitch Trubisky, folks. That get paid a lot of money to do what they do.
Yep.
I had too much pride in my game to ever say something that stupid. I did. I mean, I'm the guy that called St. Cutler was going to suck for the Bears, and he was no matter. And I had the whole media on my ass, and I was right about that. I was right about Watson. I've been wrong about a couple things, but the main things like Cutler and if you wanted Foles, I know who you are. Don't think when you see me that I think you're sharp.
I love it. Ravi says that
some guys have come around, like Carm.
Oh, yeah.
Around. One more year, he says.
Yeah. By the way, I did see that.
I finally said to Carmen, there's nobody. Who do you want? And after 3 weeks of mumbling to me, he has to come because there's no. Well, no, I asked him, and Carm's the best. Carm's a great, like you, a great guy. I love him.
One of the best in the business.
I said, give me your plan. And finally he said, almost exasperatingly, because I know it goes against what he thinks, but the Bears aren't helping anybody, including Carm. He said, all right, one more year. Now, I don't know if he's changed since then. I don't think so, because this is looking ridiculous now.
Yeah.
Seattle's not. If Seattle lets go of Wilson, they're as dumb as Houston is for letting go of Watson. Because I still think they both should play for the team they're on.
Badge says that the only time Foles was better than Mitch was those 27 minutes that he played in that Atlanta game where he led that fantastic comeback. And he did play well, but remember the week before against the Detroit Lions, Trubisky had his own comeback too. So
and Nagy didn't want that to happen again. And I'm going to give this. I'll say this also. 5 other quarterbacks came back in the fourth quarter against Atlanta. So nobody pulled their starter. Okay. And they came back and won 5-6 times against Atlanta. They had the worst defense in this fourth quarter in football. The only guy that prevented his quarterback from coming back was the quarterback that actually did it the week before against somebody else.
Yeah.
And that's Matt Nagy. That's when he lost me. That's when I just said, guy's despicable. He is. He's the head coach of the Bears, and that's how he backs his people. Come on.
Yeah, I hear you. Eddie August has the longest comment I've ever seen on here. It's covering our faces. And let me get
Eddie.
Yeah, he's great. We shouldn't be in this position. It's our GM and coach. If they could have done their homework, remember, it's not Mitch's fault. He has some skills. A piss poor coaching staff, Nagy especially, screwed this kid by not playing him to his strengths. I'd rather see Mitch back than some broken down, washed up quarterback that the Bears will probably end up signing. Time will tell if Pace and Nagy want to keep their jobs. Give up the effing farm already and get Watson. We haven't had a decent quarterback since, and I think he writes ... So he might have more coming.
You know what? I love the guy, and I'll say this. The only difference is there's only one quarterback, and Eldo knows who it is already.
Mm-hmm.
There's only one quarterback out of the whole crew, out of the whole busload of the ineptness and divas-like behavior that I've seen, that I would want over Mitch, and that's Russell Wilson. That's it. He knew it already. Yep. I don't want Watson. He's a bailout guy, just like his buddy Watt. I don't want him. And I think Russell Wilson is used to playing where Watson wasn't, with inferior talent, if you know what I mean. And he raises them their game above. He's just a terrific quarterback, terrific guy. I've believed in him since he was at Wisconsin. He's the one guy. That's it. After that, it's Mitch.
Yep. Well, apparently Russell Wilson's agent has been talking to Adam Schefter and planting things on social media. He said apparently Russell has given the okay to be traded to 4 different teams, although he doesn't want to be traded. And the Seahawks say they're not interested in being traded. But if he were to be traded, the Bears would be one of the 4 teams.
How did we get 4? How did we get that?
Yeah, I think that his wife likes Chicago. I think because he went to the University of Wisconsin. He also apparently knows Chicago Bears history, and he loves the challenge of coming to Chicago,
like the Midwest,
and being that quarterback to be the best quarterback in Bears history. So he's got a sense of history, and maybe that has something.
Well, he'd have to go a long way to do that. I mean, he'd have to, actually get in a championship and go to a Super Bowl. That's the only way I'm going to do this. But I will say this, that if he did come, he's the guy that I would want over anybody else. And after that's Mitch, and that's the bottom line. I mean, I love him at Wisconsin. I've talked about him on our great show here for 3 years.
Yeah. So, the very first show we did together,
first show,
up Russell Wilson, how much you love
him. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, yeah, if we want to do that, then Mitch, I got to let you go. Mm-hmm. And Mitch, I know you watched the show. I'm the only guy that's bad. Me and Aldo, the only guy got your back. I can't deliver a guy. You got to jump on with us. That's it. I don't know what I got to do over here. I'm taking arrows more than Custer took. I mean, this is crazy. Huh? This is crazy. I'm in the trunk. And the Goodfellas, the hood open. I'm helping. Somebody got to help me.
Yes. Chris Watts makes a good point here. It says, do players need to take more responsibility for their play instead of the coaches always taking the route? And that is true that, the offensive line had problems last year. The wide receivers had problems last year. The running back had some problems last year. It's not all on Mitch, as Greg.
Mitch has been the one that's taken the rap for everybody. Coaching staff, ownership, GM, media. They've all had it out for him, and he's survived. That's the kind of guy you want for yourself. I don't know Mitch Trubisky from Adam, but I'll tell you this. I see a character guy. I see a guy that guys like Brian Urlacher and Ditka and other guys, Hilgenberg and Tom Zick, are saying they'd go to war with. What are we missing here?
Mm-hmm.
What are we missing here?
Yeah.
We're missing the current leadership of the Bears, not showing good leadership and not take. Hey, when has Nagy taken more heat than Mitch Trubisky? Seriously, never. So I don't want to hear that.
Yep.
I don't want to hear that. Nobody's taking. If Cutler took the heat Mitch took, he wouldn't have gotten an extension.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There was one problem. I wasn't doing Chicago radio on the time. I was doing Fox.
Yeah.
National.
The National.
You didn't have a Chicago affiliate.
Mm-hmm.
He's lucky because he got a honeymoon from everybody. He would have been dead. Yeah. Dead. He was a bad guy. Bad. Just not getting it done.
Brummy Bear says that he's concerned because yesterday all he heard from Pace and Nagy were excuses about why Foles played.
About the guy who stunk.
Yeah, exactly.
Excuses about the guy. They hardly bring up Mitch. He saved their asses, and they're throwing a nice blanket over a turd. Come on. It's still going to smell through the blanket.
Ravi says, Mike, that scene in Goodfellas, I don't think they were ever going to help the guy.
That was a bad analogy. He was in a bad spot.
That is great.
That wasn't good. My buddy Frank Vincent. Man, it was hot in that trunk, Mike. Huh? Sorry, Frank. Still made good bank.
Mule says Russ Wilson's no dummy. He's got better receivers in Seattle. He isn't going anywhere.
He isn't. I mean, I think you got to like once in a while flex your muscles. But I prefer my quarterbacks. Like before this year, he's been pretty quiet.
Mm-hmm.
So I prefer Russell to just go back to Seattle. He's a Seattle Seahawk to me.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'd be making a big mistake. I mean, I can't believe it. I mean, it's like a captain of the ship that sunk 3 ships, and people are and people are going, we want to sail with you. Like, we want to play for the Bears. I mean, they are. I mean, when it comes to quarterback selection, the Titanic of selecting quarterbacks for the most part.
Brahmi says that as soon as Mitch farted in the wrong direction, Nagy couldn't wait to throw him under the bus.
That's the truth. Anybody that's ever been thrown under the bus for anything, anybody who's ever been blamed for anything, echo that times 30 and put what you were blamed for in the papers. And the guy that was blaming you is your head coach.
Mm-hmm.
And then ask yourself, do I really want to play for this guy?
Right.
Seriously.
Yeah. One of the things that disturbed me in the press conference was when Ryan Pace was asked who's involved in the decision, whether you're going to acquire a quarterback, trade for somebody and so forth.
It's on the table and all that.
He named everybody.
I know.
Everybody. George McCaskey, Ted Phillips, everybody.
Virginia? Did he name Virginia?
That is, well, maybe that was a sexist thing.
He's probably the one that gives the final stamp. She got a stamp. And she goes, yeah.
But it just seems like, there's been a lot of complaints about maybe getting in a football person to act in the Ted Phillips role. Somebody for Ryan Pace to bounce.
You know what? I don't really want to work anymore. But give me a couple. I'll be president of the Bears for 2 years, and I'll turn the damn franchise around.
How much? I'll start negotiating.
Just give me a couple. I'll tell you what. Give me $250,000 a year to George McCaskey. I'll consult you into a Super Bowl within 4 years.
Ooh, I love it.
And I'll tell you what not to do. Because if I'd been there for the last 20 years, there's a lot of knots that you wouldn't have done. And there's a lot of millions that you wouldn't have spent. I would have been right in his ear going, you can't give Cutler an extension. You can't. He didn't. He had plenty of time to prove something. He can't get it done. I would have told him, we can't let them pass on Watson. We can't. Well, Mitch Trubisky, George, I know you know this. I bet the games. I don't even remember this kid. Okay. So there's got to be some, instead of yes men around these people, they need a guy that will tell them no. And they've never said that. Has Ted Phillips ever said no? He couldn't even say no to these two goofs. $250,000, I'll turn this franchise around in 4 years. And if you don't know my history, I've done this before. Period. So about building stuff, let me tell you something. You get a good roster on your hands. I would not get rid of Trubisky. I'd go out and I'd make it imperative. We draft 2 offensive linemen. We start getting a little younger on defense. Okay. I would tell him, as far as Allen Robinson's concerned, I would want to find out, because I'm hearing it's Allen Robinson's people too.
Yeah.
I'm hearing it's a 2-way street.
Yep.
And I would judge the Allen Robinson situation as such. I'd make Allen Robinson an offer. If he didn't want to take it, then I would release him. And that money would then go to spending on other players.
Yeah. Yeah, Brandon Parker.
This isn't complicated.
Yeah, it shouldn't be this complicated. You're absolutely right. But Brandon Parker, the agent for Allen Robinson, I believe that's his name. I think he's playing real hardball. He thinks he gives A-Rob a top 3 kind of contract. And that's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
But I would try to talk to him. I don't think those people can talk to a regular guy or an agent. I don't. I didn't even use an agent. Everything I ever got, I did on my own. You got to talk. You got to talk turkey. You got to talk common sense. And you know what? I would tell him, look, he'll be our number 1 guy here, but I can't give him 35 or 30 million. I can't. I'll give him a 2-year deal, 3-year deal now with a $20 million bonus. I'll give him a 3-year deal for $20 million a year, of which the first year definitely is guaranteed. So that's $40 million. Come on, Allen. Just play for the Bears where you are comfortable, but you're upset. And I think then You have to assure him. I think the reason they're playing hardball is because of the quarterback situation. I would already assure him Mitch is coming back for 2 more years at least.
Hey,
And I would peddle Foles or eat the money.
okay.
I would not have that stain, okay? And I don't mean to disrespect him that way, but that not him, the stain of what happened with Mitch out there and him still standing there, that's gone.
Yeah. Ravi says that if the NFL released the budgets of scouting departments, he'd want the Bears have one of the lowest. I know that years ago
they did.
Oh my gosh, they invested in some the Blesto. Remember the Blesto?
The Cowboys and Bless, but you still need scouts to really get into that.
Yeah, they relied on this.
You have all the stats. You can't have a guy that that doesn't have any kind of mind to derive what Blesto's saying.
Right. There was like 6 teams in the NFL who all subscribed to this Blesto scouting department. So they were all getting the same reports. It's like, it was so stupid.
It was crazy. and the NFL's really, technology wise come along a long, long way. And and it's really, they've done a good job. They were archaic in the 60s and 70s. They used to have cardboard things. But there were no computers back then. People got to remember that. Everything was done by rotary dial phone and everything like that. I was in radio in 92. We didn't have computers, yet. We had Jesse Rogers used to hold up the sign. Joe from Tinley Park, Billy from Addison, Alice from the north side of Chicago, so that's how it's come a long way. It really has.
Indeed. We're about 15, 20 minutes away from Mike making his pick. I want to turn our attention to a little Chicago Bulls talk. They play tonight against the Pelicans. And I got to tell you, Mike, I started doing some research on this. Zoe is really playing well. They moved them over into Zion, excuse me.
Yeah.
Zion Williamson, they moved him into this point forward position, and he has, I wrote down, since February 1st, when he started playing this point forward position, the team's turnovers have reduced from 16 to 12. The shooting has gone from 11th in the NBA to 2nd in the NBA, and their offensive ranking has gone from 16th to 1st. This is because Zion Williamson is handling the ball more. It's amazing what this young guy is doing.
Yeah, I think that if I had to make a play on tonight's game, I'd probably play the money line. I don't know what it is.
I'll put it up on the screen here in a second.
The money line with New Orleans, if I was going to do something tonight, because you're right. And then they got Langdon. They got some other guys that are shooting the ball. I don't know. Brandon Ingram, really good ball player. And they got Ball playing really good.
Yeah.
So, if I was a betting man, whatever the money line is,
it's -5.5. Pelicans -.
And is there a money line play like -180, -2 to 1?
I'll look it up. Hold on.
Yeah, just put money line should be on one of the odds making type of things. But the money line should be like 200. In other words, you got to bet 200 to win 100. If you take New Orleans. Now they're at the Bulls, but I think they're favored, right?
Yes.
New Orleans is favored, right?
5.5 points.
Yeah. That's pretty good. The Bulls are pretty, they got the same record basically, yet the Bulls are catching 5.5. You know why? Inside. They're not good inside. Yeah. And I'll tell you what that guy Jokic, I said this 2 weeks ago. If he's not the MVP, I don't think anybody is. Don't name anybody. Because I'm watching him. The guy has scored in 2 games now.
He's amazing.
He beat the crap out of the Greek Freak last night.
Yeah. Oh, did he? I missed that. And
Wendell Carter is looking for a therapist from the night before. Oh my God. He abused that guy. That guy, there was, he was really just destroying people. He's got 76 points in 2 games, 40 some rebounds, and 20 assists.
Holy cow.
It's like insane. And if he was on the Bulls, we'd be one of the top 2 seeds in basketball with LaVine and him. See, that changes everything. One guy. And I don't want to hear they lost last night to Phoenix, the Lakers. The LeBron for MVP thing, get your lips or whatever it is off his high knee.
The money line is the Pelicans -150.
I would trade LeBron for Jokic right tomorrow.
Really? You would?
Oh, my God. The guy's the best player in the game. If you're not watching, you're not. look, I know they're in Denver. I know, but you don't have to take a seaplane to get there. You know, they're in the United States. My God, the guy is unbelievable.
He is.
Look, Carter hasn't worked out like we wanted, but he's not as bad as he was made to look the other night.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, 17 fourth quarter points. It was abuse.
Yeah, he's had some trouble against big, strong guys like Embiid and Jokic. So the money line is Pelicans minus 150, Bulls plus 125.
It's not bad. That's not too bad. I'd take the 150.
Well, there you go.
You know, the Bulls, if you want to put 100 and they win straight up, you can win. You know, I'll be happy for you. You can win an extra $25 on your 100. Put in 100, 125. That's good. Yeah. But you know what? They're okay, but they haven't beaten anybody 500 or better.
That is the problem with this team. They're young. They're playing all the. Zach is Zach. He's playing really well, but then he starts with 4 guys that they're trying to develop. There's better players on the bench if they really want to win games. So they're investing into the future this season, which I guess is okay. They don't have an NBA Finals roster, so let's give these young guys some playing time to see what you got, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, Markkanen's out all the time. Carter is, I think, not going to make it. I really don't, as far as if you want to get to the next level.
Right.
Levine is a stud.
Mm-hmm.
Kobe White, I'm lukewarm on. You know, I mean, really, I think there's only a couple guys on that team you keep if you want to get going and keep changing the roster. I don't think there's many untouchables on the Bulls. Believe me, not many. Markkanen's not an untouchable. Carter's not an untouchable. Kobe White's not an untouchable. Christ, most of the team, except Levine. I like Levine. I'm going to give him credit.
I love that kid. I think
we got to get more than an all-star. We got to win, and we're not. We got to win. I mean, for him to make the all-star team's a big honor, but they're 15 and 19.
Mm-hmm. And then the big game.
What would they be without him, though?
I'm sorry, what was that?
What would they be without him?
Yeah, exactly. The big game this weekend, of course, is the All-Star game, Sunday, March 7th. Do you watch the NBA All-Star game?
Not 1 second. They could keep all this crap. I watch All-Star games every night. It's called the over-under 245. The over-under 239. The over-under 262. When I was a kid, that was those were high 10 years ago for All-Star games, those totals. Now it's like Memphis versus Atlanta, 230. I'm going, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
Here it is. Pelicans are minus 220 on DraftKings.
Okay.
See, I knew it was higher. You gotta step out. You got to put down 220 to win 100. But I don't think the Bulls can beat them. I don't. I think you're right about what you said about Zion. Good stuff that you had there, although that they've moved him out a little. They're not making him a low post guy only. He's got some good moves.
Mm-hmm.
I just see him getting out of a chair in 50 years about 350 pounds. That's just me, you know, and that's fine because as long as he stays in shape. But he's already, how old is he, 20, 21?
He's 21, I believe, yeah.
And drop the fork every so often, Junior, because it's going to catch up to you. Man, he's a big son of a gun, isn't he? But Barkley wasn't as big as him. I mean, Barkley wasn't as big as him?
That is true. No, he wasn't.
I love him on our team.
No, I mean, when you look at highlights of the round mound of rebound, when he was first in the league, he was actually pretty slim.
Yeah.
Compared to
They're all cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't until his last.
Zion just says, here I am.
That's right.
And I'll take you to the hoop.
It's amazing what he can do with that weight. It's unbelievable. Yep. Hey, Mike, so you don't watch the All-Star game. I was going to ask you because on Thursday night, they have the NBA All-Star draft. So it's Kevin Durant picking against
Kevin Durant. He used to play in the league.
That's right. He's
been another terrific deal. They're going to probably, everybody wants Harden to be the MVP. How do you want a guy that purposely played like crap to get out of another situation?
Yeah.
10 games, and you want him as your MVP. Perfect. What's with Houston? Can I ask what's with the city of Houston?
I don't know.
You got Watson and Watts.
Yeah.
You got Harden, who tanked to get out of there.
He sure did.
Fixed the World Series. I mean, what a horrifying situation that the Houston market is for teams.
And Harden was asked, "What do you think the reaction is going to be in Houston because they're playing there tonight?"
I heard Jay Williams say, "Hope they don't boo him." Why not? Exactly. You're getting booed, right?
Yeah, you would think, right? I mean, what he did to that team,
unbelievable.
Yeah,
really, now you're almost meant to feel guilty. Yeah. If you boo a guy because he ran out on your ass while you were paying him $30 million.
Right. So there's a really good, cool prop bet. Which starter will LeBron James pick first in his All-Star fantasy draft? And you see Kyrie Irving is plus 200, Doncic plus 275, Curry plus 300. If you had the first pick of this All-Star draft, who would you pick?
The Joker.
Yeah, right.
I picked the Joker. What's he at? They have anything listed for him? Here he is, 375. I'll take the Joker. Yeah. And Steph Curry, the greatest player of this generation. LeBron second. I'd have him second. I also got Steph Curry. He's about 16-1 for MVP honors. I'm sorry. Did I miss the memo that this guy didn't make a difference in the NBA over the last 10 years? It's crazy. What a player he's been.
What a player indeed. Yeah. Camel Toe Inspector wants to know if you have seen or talked to Dan Jiggets.
Of course. I talked to Dan Jiggets 2-3 weeks ago. I talked to Dan. Dan, good guy. He's hanging in. He's got grandkids and everything else. Mm-hmm. But thanks for asking. Yes, absolutely. The Jig guy.
And he was on the show. He was on the show maybe 3 months ago, 4 months
ago. We still kibitz. You know, we go a few weeks without talking, 3-4 weeks. Sometimes we go a month or two. And then one of us calls the other guy, and that's it. That's how it's been for forever.
I wonder if Dan is still mad at me for bringing up that 8-game losing streak that the Bears had.
No, I was mad at you for that. I didn't even know about that. I forgot about it. No, he's fine.
The Bears were.
Jig is resilient.
Yes, he is. That's right. He can also kick my butt. And
he wouldn't want to. He's a good guy.
He is a great guy.
Good man, but don't piss him off.
We're getting lots of great reviews on the show. I think it is time to make the pick. What do you think?
I'm ready.
Let's play some music. Let's get that music going.
God help us all. Grab your rosary, children. That's right. There's a safety net as you take this pick tonight that Mike's going to give you, brought to you by the fine folks at Win Daily Sports, windailysports.com. Anything you need, they got, including my picks right there. And my pick tonight, ladies and gentlemen, if you can get it at 4.5 or 5, you take the Missouri Tigers plus the 4.5 or plus the 5. Going to be a good ball game. Missouri been struggling of late. Gators playing a little bit better. I think Florida is the marquee team here. I think a lot of the action will go on them. Missouri is sort of like treated like a stepchild when it comes to college sports. It used to be more powerful back in the day, even with Norm Stewart as their basketball coach. So take, ladies and gentlemen, your Missouri Tigers, and they are ours. People tell me, well, you own the team. I go, that night I do. Your Missouri Tigers. Go, believe me. We'll see if we get a couple days off for you. The 5 or 4.5 over the Florida Gators. Aldo, back to you.
All right, Mike. The over/under on that game is 143. And
no interest in that.
Yesterday was the anniversary of when Will Chamberlain scored 100 points. Isn't that amazing?
Will Chamberlain is the second greatest player to ever play in the NBA after Michael Jordan. There's not even. And then, you know what? There's arguments to be made he's better than Jordan because, you know, there was rules changed because of Wilt. And Wilt always had his best games against Russell to just prove a point. Russell breaks the rebounding record for a game. Wilt breaks it against Russell. Russell scores 30 points. You read that Chamberlain scores 35. There was always that. They were supposedly friends. You hear this years later. But Bill Russell's one of the great guys and a winner. But Will Chamberlain easily is my second favorite, or I think the second best ever. They had the goaltending rule because of him. They had to widen the lane because of him. He never fouled out of a game. He actually played over 48 minutes one year because he played every overtime minute. Never sat 1 minute.
Wow.
I'm sorry. Never sat 1 minute. Played 48.5 minutes one season. Averaged 50 points a game, 25 rebounds a season. I'm sorry. He's number 2, and then the rest. Jordan, or Chamberlain interchangeable, man. I don't care about the winning record, losing record, because Chamberlain, where he went, Philadelphia and the Lakers, those two teams are two of the top 10 teams, two of the top 5 teams of all time because of him. And West. The West never won anything till Will Chamberlain came.
That's right.
West didn't win a damn thing. Even in Philadelphia, Will Chamberlain came. That's all you have to know. If Will would have played with Havlicek and them guys on the Celtics, you're telling me he only wins 2? No way. Will Chamberlain, number 2.
I'm with you. And a lot of people say, well, it was a different
100 points.
It was a different game back then. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
They killed your ass, and he scored 100 points.
That's right. They didn't have a 3-point shot, No. Kobe Bryant scored, 81 points. That's the second most in NBA history, and he had the 3-point shot.
Right.
So factor that in.
I got it. He was 19 off. I mean, come on.
That's amazing.
Jordan, Chamberlain, I guess the third best is the toughest one for me. If I had to pick the third best, I got to go with Jabbar, man. I'm sorry. You know what? I'm not a big fan, but I've interviewed Kareem a couple times, 2-3 times. I remember I was supposed to interview him on Fox. He said he was all set to go. Then he didn't think he was prepared. He didn't want to do it, but that's okay. That doesn't matter to me. Guy went to Milwaukee and won. That's what the Greek Freak's trying to do.
Yeah.
And he was the hunted. They had Oscar Robertson, who actually, was at his other years. Listen to Camel Toe and Spec. Lakers, baby. Yeah. They lost yesterday. Now he says, I love Vegas, but they don't wear masks on the strip. I guess, so what? Don't go. If I go to Vegas, it's going to be maskless. But so I'm not going for the near future until but things are clearing up. Things are starting to loosen up.
Yes.
Yep.
I know. This is really great news. I'm hearing
only a couple more months and my year of happiness is over. I have to go back out. I loved House Arrest. It's been so special.
My final thing that I wanted to bring up, why am I hearing an echo? Not at the end.
I have no echo, handsome.
Okay, well, that's
John. I have nothing in there. You won't allow me to have anything in there. No Twitter, nothing. No phones. I got the phone off, everything else. But that's okay. At least it's at the end of the show. I think we have a couple episodes like that every show, but just sit through. It's only a couple minutes. Yeah.
Josh McCown has finally retired at the age of 41, but I'm wondering maybe he's going to
bring him back. Bring Josh back. I wanted him over Cutler. We were on our way to the playoffs. Then we brought Sourpuss back. Pussface. I used to call him Pussface. We brought him back, and then we just screwed the whole works up. Like he's so. And then the other day, he makes a bet with a guy on Twitter. The guy drinks a pitcher, and JX like, oh my God, he actually did it. I actually got to take a picture. I'll tell you what. If I ever run into Jay Cutler, I'll tell him, if you want a picture with me, you got to drink a pitcher of beer. Period.
Yeah. Crazy. Mike, I think we're done for today.
All right, buddy.
I had a blast. Did you have
I did too, as usual.
Oh,
I tell you what, I want to just thank everybody. Make sure you follow Win Daily Sports. Make sure you follow Aldo Gandia, Bears Barroom, North to North on ORTH, number 2 on ORTH. Make sure you follow AM 1000, Carmen DeFalco, Yurko. Make sure you follow all our people. Make sure you do what you got to do, and we're having some fun here. Aldo, great job as usual, my friend. And we got tonight, don't forget, I coach every night, folks. I'm in my boxers saying, get in front of the guy. That's not a charge, ref. That's not a charge. How can you miss a free throw? And my pet peeve, I see it twice a game. There's a pass. Oh, he's standing out of bounds as he catches it. You are a moron if you catch a ball out of bounds and you're playing college basketball. Oh, they're just kids. No, they're grown adults. They get behind the wheel of a car and they can't keep their feet in bounds and they catch a pass. It's ridiculous.
By the way, before we go, we got a request for you. It's from Todd.
Todd, you ought to know something just by asking me that, calling me, telling me to do that. You know what? That makes you something that America always wants to be. Don't forget who invented the word. Don't forget who's in the Urban Dictionary. Don't forget, if you keep this, you could say once upon a time. I mean, you know what? If you met Thomas Edison, you turn the light on, you go, that's the guy. You meet the guy, you talk to the guy, but then you You want me to just come out and call you a jag bag?
I love it. King Pookie Nation says he loves you, and that's a perfect way to close the show. We love you guys too. Thanks for watching. We'll be back here next week, same time, same station.
So long, everybody.